Imagine a simple world where you don't need all of these remotes, and with a simple touch of a button, you can take complete control of your home theater system. So this is my home theater room, and it is my favorite room in the house. I always dreamed of having a space like this, a comfortable space where friends and family could gather. All of the speakers in this home theater are ones that I built myself, but there was a problem. All of the remote controls and all of the batteries we needed to support all these remote controls were ruining the experience. Then along came Sofabaton. This is more than just a universal remote control. This is an all-in-one programmable remote that can do things that other remote controls just can't do. It has the ability to control pretty much anything that is controlled by a remote control, with interfaces for infrared, Bluetooth, and radio frequency remotes. It'll control your TV, your AV receiver, your Blu-ray player. You can even use it to control your projector screen if you have one, and it can turn lights on and off. Here in the home theater room, something like this is really important. I've got 3 different game consoles hooked up to my AV receiver. I've got a Roku TV, and I have to get audio out from the Roku TV to the AV receiver to play it on the 5.1 surround. And I've got to get all of those inputs into the AV receiver and then back out to the television so that I can hear and watch games and movies. And what makes this unique is the ability to program activities. I have an antenna hooked up to the television. In order to watch local TV through the antenna, I've got to turn the TV to local TV and route that audio to the AV receiver. And if I wanted to go from local TV and watch a Blu-ray, that will require all 3 of these remote controls to switch to that setup. Now I can do it in just a push of a button. But it's not all wine and roses, because the setup process turns out to be a bit of a pain in the rear. And the remote control requires a non-trivial amount of troubleshooting after you get it set up. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the setup process, show you some of the things that this remote can do, and then I'll give you my final opinion on the device. This right here is the Sofabaton X1S Smart Remote. Let's crack it open and see what it's all about. There's a quick start card with some instructions, the actual remote control itself. You have some detailed instructions, a USB-A plug, so you can plug your USB-A into it. Then there's this base station right here. More on what that does in just a bit. And of course we have some wires. This is a USB-A to USB-C cable. And then here we have what appears to be a pair of infrared sensors. I really like the name. The name is a clever play on words. This is a baton, like a conductor in an orchestra would use a baton. So this is the tool that you can use to sit on your sofa and conduct your entire home theater system. Get everything going, you're going to want to start by downloading an app on your smartphone or a tablet, Android or Apple. They work just the same. You'll need to go ahead and plug in the hub. Like every other device on the face of the earth, you have to have an account for everything, so you've got to sign in and create an account. What you're going to want to do here is use either a family Google email address to create that account and log in, or create an account and share the password with everybody in your household. When you do that, everyone in the household can use their smartphone as a remote, and you actually won't need the physical remote. You just need the app. After logging in, you select your device. We've got an X series device here. How do you know which one you've got? If it's an X series, it has a hub, so you have to connect to the hub. This is a new device, so we're going to set up a new hub. If it's not obvious to you, it should be. You have to actually plug in the hub. And then on the back of the device, there is a button. You hold it down for 3 seconds and wait for the blue light to start blinking. The app will then find the hub, and you've got to connect the hub to your local Wi-Fi network. At this point in the setup process, something really important happened. There was a warning message that splashed up on the screen, and then it moved on to the next step, so I didn't get a chance to see that warning message. Luckily, I was recording it, and I can go back to that warning and show you what it is. There are a couple of very specific steps you've got to take if you're using a Roku device. You've got to go into the Roku device, go into the settings. What you're looking for is permissive, basically telling the Roku to let you use pretty much anything you might want to control the Roku. And after that, you're going to go into a system update. Now, after all that setup process, we're finally at a place where we're ready to start adding devices. So down at the bottom of the screen, hit devices, and it's going to ask you what type of remote control it uses. Infrared, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or radio frequency. Now, if you don't know what kind of remote your device uses, there is a help file which I found to be completely unhelpful. Fortunately, most devices use infrared remotes, and you can just default to infrared for many different things. And after you you choose one of the 4 on the list, you get 3 options for adding the device. You can search for the model or go into learning mode. In learning mode, you actually use the buttons on your original remote control to teach the Sofabaton what those buttons do, so you can map buttons to the Sofabaton remote. In my initial run-through setup process, I was using an old television, and I've long lost the remote, so I can't use the remote to go into learning mode, so I had to look at the back of the TV and dig up the model number and search by model number. From there, the Sofabaton app is going to prompt you to test the power function to make sure you can turn the device on and off. The idea here is to ensure basic functionality, and you can go back and test the various keys on the remote later to make sure they're functioning as intended. The idea here is that if you've entered the model number for your device, Sofabaton should be able to map all of the buttons from the original remote to the Sofabaton remote pretty much automatically. And then from there, you can go on and add the next device. Give it a name and hit complete. And that's how you set up a device. You should expect to go back and forth a little bit when you set up a new device. It's not going to be completely flawless. From there, it's just a matter of setting up all of the various devices that you need to set up. Now, here's something I'd like to experiment with. I want to see if I can add the remote control for my LED lights behind me. If I can add those, that would be really handy. Check it out. I don't know if you can see these right back here. This strip right here is now controlled by my remote control. Power on. Power off, power on. Now that's handy, and I can really see me making use of that to control the lights here in the studio in addition to controlling the lights in the home. That's pretty sweet. Imagine the possibilities. After you've got basic functionality for all the devices, you're going to want to go into every device and verify that every function on the remote control that came with the device is going to work on the Sofabaton. A couple of things to look out for. This is the remote for my Blu-ray player, and this remote has a play button and a pause button, but the Sofabaton remote has a combination play and pause button. So what I ended up doing was making play a short press and then pause a long press. So there'll be a few compatibility issues like that you will have to work around. Set aside several hours to go through all of your remote controls and make sure you've got all the functionality that you're going to need. If you don't do that, you're going to be going back later trying to fix things. And trust me when I say you want to go ahead and put in the time up front to get things working properly. So I'm going to set up a couple of devices, specifically an LED light and my Lazy Susan. My thought process here is I can use this to set up a scene for recording, and with the push of a button, have everything I need to record a subwoofer sitting on my Lazy Susan. While I'm going through all that, I want to take a minute to say thank you to all of my patrons. Patrons get behind the scenes access to the YouTube channel. $10 and up patrons get their name in the video, and $25 and up patrons like Jonathan, Joe, Timothy, and Bo all get a big shout out in the video. If you like this kind of content, head on over to Patreon and sign up today. And while I'm saying thank you, I want to say thanks to Sofabaton for sending out this remote, along with one of their U-Series remotes. More on this one in just a little bit. This next part is what sets a programmable remote control like this one apart from just a regular remote control. After you have all your devices set up, you can start creating activities. So you hit the activity button and select all of the components you're going to use in that particular activity. It's just a matter of following the prompts. If you're using a TV or an AV receiver, you'll need to assign an input. I don't need that for this activity here, so I can skip it. But you will need to set up the default power state. The light bars have a power button on the remote, so start with the light bars turned off and confirm the power state. The Lazy Susan doesn't have a power button on the remote, so there's no power state to confirm. What I'm going to do here is set up the remote so that the fast forward and reverse buttons on the remote are going to spin the Lazy Susan around clockwise and counterclockwise. And you do that by assigning specific buttons on the remote. For your home theater setup, the volume controls are going to be assigned to the AV receiver, and everything else is going to be assigned to the source, say the TV or the Blu-ray player. After you get it set up, you'll name the activity and you can choose an icon. And this part is really important. Don't assume that it's going to work. What you want to do now is go to edit the activity and double check to make sure everything works. I had to make some adjustments to the startup sequence. What I found out was that in my case, the default startup sequence couldn't be set up to route TV audio to the AVR. So I had to go in and add an extra command to get my TV audio to the AVR. After using the remote for a few weeks, here's what I think about it. This is a cool device. One big advantage is that the base unit, the remote, and the app all talk to each other over your home Wi-Fi network. So you don't need a line of sight. You could put the base station in an AV closet and route the infrared transmitters to your individual devices. This allows you to really make good use of a dual zone AVR like the one I've got. It's got 2 extra channels. I can run speaker wires to speakers in a different room. And then while I'm in that second zone, I could use the app to turn them on because I don't have to be in the same room as the base station. This remote gets big points for functionality. It can control darn near everything, but it loses points for the setup process, which is significantly more time consuming than any other smart remote I've ever used. Getting everything working required significant troubleshooting, and sometimes it just doesn't turn my TV on. It's usually rectified by turning everything off and then turning it all back on again. Would I recommend buying one? Absolutely. It's an awesome tool. It'll make your home theater setup a whole lot more functional. But when you hit the link below and check it out on Amazon, what you're going to find is that it's a little bit on the expensive side. And if it's a little too expensive for you, consider their lower priced U-Series remote, which has virtually all the same functionality, but it doesn't use that base station, so you do need a line of sight to turn on infrared devices. I'm Justin, this is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.